It's just nothing, audio related necessarily. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, let me go back through my
We're live.
credit card history.
Beresford, hello and ahoy. Ahoy indeed.
Ahoy!
How's everyone doing? 3 people in. 3 people. Hey, we're actually on time today, Dylan.
Three people.
We're like only a minute late. I think that's like a record for us on a Friday.
Yeah, I think so.
We got people piling in the door here. So we're just talking about what new gear did you buy this year, and Dylan said he hasn't bought a single thing.
I'm trying to remember. It kind of everything blends into a blur. I'm trying to think if there's anything, at least anything noteworthy. Again, other than the stuff that you have shared with me, which is a whole different thing. But yeah, no, I don't know.
I got a new computer a couple weeks ago. I got the Mac Mini. That's gear. Like, that's something I'm slowly moving everything over to the Mac. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get away from Adobe completely, because I realized this just this week when I'm doing my editing on a podcast. There's no way in hell I'd want to edit a podcast on Logic. Like, no way in hell. Would you want to do that?
I could.
Yeah, I could, but we're talking like when the amount of time I spend on this podcast it's a lot. Like it's it's hours. If you had any chance of being able to extend that because you moved to another platform and it wasn't quite as workflowy, would you? Like, I don't know if I can get as quick of a workflow as I have with Adobe Audition. Like, Adobe's really well set up for doing podcasts, dude.
Yeah, well, and it's so customizable too, right? Like,
yeah.
There's like Pro Tools is not customizable. The shortcuts are the shortcuts.
Yeah.
But which is nice though, because if you go into somebody else's studio and you're in Adobe, you're like, I have no idea how you have this set up. Whereas if I go into somebody's studio who's using Pro Tools, everything is in the same place.
Yeah. No, I get that.
There's nothing. So there's definitely pros and cons to customizable versus not customizable. But I get a pretty fast workflow in Pro Tools, and Pro Tools workflow is kind of it's the same as Logic workflow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if I can do it in Pro Tools, then yeah, I could probably do it in Logic.
By the way, Audio Hotline, welcome to Love and Support. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, buddy.
Well,
I have a few of those myself going out. It's one of those supporting their other creators. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you for the support. Beresford, the fact that there's an audio hotline implies the existence of an audio cold line. True story.
Yeah.
No, so with Adobe, so correct me if I'm wrong, Adobe, outside of Sony SoundForge, because that's the last one I remember having this, the ability to destructive edit on a single audio source, so a single audio waveform. Is Audition the only one that allows you to destructively edit in single waveform form? Am I wrong about that? Because I remember Sony SoundForge allowed you.
But I mean, Audition's the big one. I mean, Sony, when Sony had Acid before Magix bought it, now Magix GmbH owns it. But Acid came with SoundForge. And those tools, kind of like an Adobe setup, I mean, they were 2 different programs, but they were dynamically linked. So you could double click on a file in Acid and it would open that file in SoundForge and allow you to mess around with it. Pro Tools makes it very easy to edit destructively on audio, but it does it in different regions. Like you're still technically in multi-track view, but you hit E and the track goes full screen and there you go.
Oh, okay. So technically, it's you're just kind of embiggening everything.
Yeah, well, and so in Pro Tools, I'd say the 2 things that I would do to mimic destructive editing in Audition and Pro Tools is slam E, get that track full screen. I would set it to one of the edit modes is called shuffle, and the shuffle is like slip mode in that you can put the cursor anywhere. Like there's no grid, there's none of that. It's just free floating. But you can, when you're in shuffle mode and you delete something, it moves everything in front of it backwards.
So it's a ripple delete. Like that's what Adobe Audition calls it.
So that you can use to kind of mimic, single track editing in Pro Tools, and I do that frequently. In fact, I usually don't even make the track bigger. I just leave it in place and put it in shuffle.
One of the things I do with Adobe Audition that I love in single waveform mode or single file mode, whatever they call it,
Mhm.
is I will take a piece of the silence. So I take a specific length of silence, 0.228 seconds of silence. And then after every comma, you can tell when someone's talking where a comma would be. I inject the silence. So I, and it's called pacing with podcasting. It's very,
Yep.
very important for podcasts. So everything is like literally clockwork as you go
Well,
through.
so what's nice about doing that in Pro Tools is the default mode is you delete a breath and it just leaves it. It just leaves that space empty versus the
Oh,
shuffle editing. So you
okay.
don't really have to insert silence. You just drag the file. You just drag the region a little further that way, and there you go. You got silence.
But I would
Um,
like, so I would like want it so if the silence is only 0.220 of a second, I want to make it 0.228. That's what the Control V, or I have it hotkeyed so it just like injects that 0.228 of silence.
yeah. I
That's
mean,
what
you
I
you
like.
can do like insert silence kind of things in Pro Tools using
All right.
Audio Suite tools. But so again, if it's in Pro Tools, it's in Logic. So I think it would be doable in Logic. It's just maybe not in the sort of stock. I don't know how to use Logic because that's the thing. You have to learn how to use it.
Yeah, and
And that's a
that's
long thing.
like I've got a video. I started working on a video today about how to choose a DAW, and one of the biggest things is, man, like I'm going through this where I'm learning Final Cut Pro, and oh my god, the amount of differential between that and Premiere Pro is ridiculous. Same concepts, just the way you do things, everything is different, but everything's the
Yeah.
same pretty much. Just
Honestly, I'm going to say something kind of controversial.
okay.
So it doesn't matter what DAW you use.
No,
If
it
somebody's
doesn't. No.
asking the question, what DAW should I start with? Look at all of them and read a little bit about what they're for and maybe what their strengths and weaknesses are, and just pick one. But here's the key: get really good at it.
Yeah.
Whatever
No
DAW you
kidding.
pick, get really good at it. Like I know everything there is to know about Pro Tools. Post-production related stuff, video synchronization stuff, audio stuff, music stuff, broadcast stuff. Boom. Pro Tools is my platform. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people hate Pro Tools. Pro Tools gets a lot of shit. And for good reason. There's definitely some validity to a lot of that, and how Avid has executed the underside of Pro Tools. Pro Tools is like the least robust DAW platform on the planet. Like, there's so many things about your system that you have to optimize
Yeah.
to ensure that Pro Tools runs in a stable environment. Like Adobe Audition, you just install it on basically anything, as long as it has decent system power.
Yeah,
it'll run.
basically. Yeah, you can run it on a potato.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
you know what? And it's
Again,
it,
going back, it doesn't matter what DAW you use.
It's
Just
funny,
pick
too.
one that looks cool and do it.
once you know how to use one DAW outside of Adobe Audition, I would say Audition is kind of one of those few that doesn't fit the mold of all the rest. They're pretty much all the same. It's just how you do everything within it. Like your hotkeys are completely different. Your like all the little things are different. You have the ability to do most of the stuff, but it's just in different places, or it's named something different. Like ripple delete is slip for some. I forget what they call it in Logic, but it's all there. It's just a matter of learning what it is and then learning how to implement it. And that's what kills your workflow. So when you're making money at doing this stuff, like Dylan, if I made you have to make money on PreSonus Studio One, you'd be able to make money on it, but it would make your life miserable for about a month.
Yeah, at least. And even then, like, I mean, your workflow, it takes so long for it to get to the point where it's muscle memory, right? Because first you
So
get
long.
it where you remember everything.
Yeah.
And then there's a point where the stuff that you remember, you forget that you remember it. So it just becomes automated. Like, and that's me, when I'm bouncing around in Pro Tools, there's really screwed up shortcuts. Like, I'm trying to think, like, Alt-Shift-QWERTY 3 to conform an audio region. Like, why do I remember that?
But it's funny
what
too, because I bounced from Audition to Premiere Pro,
Yeah.
and cutting tool and razor tool, C or R. Cutting tool is for Premiere Pro, and
Yeah.
Audition is razor. And I constantly hit C when I'm in Audition and R when I'm in Premiere Pro. Like
And those are the same company.
they're the same fucking cut. Like how hard is it to make it a razor tool in both? God damn it.
Oh God! Well, and again, they literally sell these these products in packages, so they can't turn around and be like, well, we don't expect anyone that uses Premiere to use Audition. It's like you sell them together.
Well, and Audition is the actual editing program for Premiere. That's the point of Audition. That's what it was initially intended for, was this is your specific audio editor for your video editor. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's because you can even like edit in Adobe Audition. You right click on a piece of audio and you can edit the audio in Adobe Audition, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've done that. I've done that in Premiere where I've got like I've got this sort of sync audio in the camera, but it's a little dull, so I just want to brighten it up. I'll go into Audition,
Yeah.
process the file with a high shelf on it, and just give her. And it's seamless. That's what I love about it. It's freaking seamless.
Absolutely.
That workflow. I mean, Avid, you don't. Well, no, that's a lie. The linkage between Media Composer and Pro Tools is pretty advanced. But again, you got to be one of the.
Yeah, you need to know both programs.
It's so funny to me. Avid Media Composer, up until Premiere caught so much traction, Media Composer was the standard for digital video editing of any kind. It was the closest you could get to like an old Steinbeck editing suite. And that's why so many editors freaking swear by Media Composer. And then somewhere along the lines, now it's such a minority, it seems. I mean, other than there's a lot of television producers that use Media Composer, because a lot of television studios subscribe to like Adobe. Yeah, even us, like Jesus, if they could get people in the company I work for, everyone to move over to Premiere and Audition, they would, because they're like, well, we're already paying for CC, so like, why are we also paying for
Premiere? Is dumb shit simple to use. I would say the only one easier to use would be Final Cut Pro. Like it even has that magnetic timeline, so you don't even have to like ripple delete. Everything is like you delete a section, it just sucks right up and it's done. But you actually have to hold a key in order to delete something and not have it magnetize to the rest of it's ridiculous. Like it's so simple to use, and Media Composer is so not. Like
again, if you are a Media Composer editor, it's amazingly easy to use. Because but it's just so like Media Composer is not an NLE, right? That's what DaVinci Resolve is. That's what Premiere Pro is. These are non-linear editors, NLEs. Whereas Media Composer is kind of like an LE. It's a linear editor. And linear editing of video, if you're not really used to it, is freaking weird. I have Media Composer, and I've bumbled around with it, and I've edited some little pieces together. I'm like, okay, I see how this works. But I'm like, this is so like reverse the pipeline, send the water backwards. I'm like, no, man, like it's like trying to learn how to ride a bike if the handlebars twist opposite sides.
And I'm struggling with hotkeys I'm struggling with learning how to do things from a different kind of lens with Final Cut Pro. And I've been practicing my second channel. I've got a few videos planned for it. And so what I've been doing is I'm only cutting them on Final Cut Pro because there's no real timeline except for September. That's the only timeline I've got for it. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll just do all the editing on there just to get used to it. And man, the amount of energy I spend having to look down at my keyboard and go, oh yeah, it's this. Just to do the smallest little thing. And I'm like, so I'm rekeying all of them. But then if you rekey too much, because sometimes you have to rekey what you just rekeyed because that one thing you really need, so you need it over here. And you find I need a full day to sit down and redo all the hotkeys. Like just full day of just doing that.
Well, so in my case, like I don't, obviously again, Pro Tools. So Audio Hotline asked, are we using Premiere Pro now? I mean, we're not in this moment, but Aiden uses it regularly.
It's my go-to right now.
I use it occasionally. Anytime I need to do video stuff, I use Premiere, which is not very often, but I do when I do it.
Yeah, I've got the yearly subscription. I taught podcasting at a college level, which allowed me to get the Adobe Suite for cheap, but it's still $600 a year Canadian. Like at the end of the day, it's still $600, so $50 a month for 2 programs that I use. I do use Photoshop, I guess 3 maybe, but Photoshop I just do my thumbnails with. I could probably get onto Canva or something like that. But I'm even good with Photoshop to that. Like I even have my thumbnails down to an art form, right? I know exactly what I'm doing when I sit down. I'm like, click, 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 done.
Boom,
it's
boom, boom.
Just done. So I don't know. There's a lot of like, am I going to be paying $600 a month next year or $600 a year? Probably. Just for editing podcasts and thumbnails, I think. Everything else I want to migrate over to Mac because one, that new template I have, the MKBHD template I have for my videos, that was developed with Mac and with Final Cut Pro. So some of the transitions don't work. So the transitions that I do, the little split screen transition that I do, I actually have to render that out and then put it into that split screen. So I'll put the little split screen over top of the video and I'll have to render out the video I want to have included in that split screen, including the A-roll and the B-roll. So I'm basically constantly processing video while I'm editing, and it slowed my whole edit down to a snail's pace. And then the export is probably about 3 hours on a normal video. I have a very, very good computer. It's very, very fast. It should not be taking me 3 hours to just to render a video. And so Final Cut Pro is going to speed that up because this thing, that's what's slowing it down is this whole MKBHD Motion VFX. If you've ever used Motion VFX, they're amazing, but they literally suck your computer dry of resources. And most of them are based on Mac. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to move over to Mac. I hear a lot of people saying it's great. So I haven't used Final Cut Pro in probably 12 years.
See, I don't have, and this gets into personal gripe, but like, I don't have anything against, well, I shouldn't say that. I have a lot of things against Apple, but like I invest in their mobile architecture. I got no problem doing that. It serves me well and it serves me to my expectation. I can't reliably invest in an Apple computer again because I spent like $5,000 on a machine and had it for 3 years.
Yeah.
And at the end of that 3 years, they're basically with Apple Care. They're like, sorry, yeah, we can't do anything about it.
They've changed that. Apple Care now covers everything for as long as you own the device.
Especially because it failed because of like actual like the battery exploded.
Yeah.
That's not exactly a thing like, whoops, I dropped it in the toilet. Like,
No, they cover everything for the life of your device now. And like, as far as I'm concerned,
what is that term though? What is the life of your device?
Well, the amount of time you own it. So they will cover it. Yeah.
Okay.
The
so
problem
no matter
is
what happens,
they don't replace it with the newest one. Or I believe it's the life of the device within their catalog. So if you have a Mac Mini and they still have Mac Minis, you'll get another Mac Mini. I believe. Don't quote me on that. I just got it for my new Mac Mini. I would have to say Apple is the perfect platform to buy in at the low end because even with the low end, you can still do more than a PC. Like my new Mac Mini is just a little bit better than the base model, and it blows my PC out of the water on most specs. Like on most freaking specs. It's only got 16 gigs of RAM, and it treats it like it's got 128 compared to my PC. It's ridiculous.
Honestly, like I think what it boils down to too is like is your PC giving you issues?
No, but I do note a couple things that if I end up having to replace my PC with the workload I have right now, I'd be completely screwed. I would not have the time to maintain. Like I'm literally in a position right now where if my computer goes down, I lose money hand over fist every minute it's down. So that has put me into a position, which is why I kind of want this multi-computer approach. I have a laptop, I have a desktop, and now I have a Mac. And that's the goal. I want to move all of my video editing over to something where I'm not stressing the shit out of my graphics card, that I don't want to go spend $1,000 on a new one. I can just do it on Mac, and I can do that. So it's kind of a more of a tiered approach. And when I started to recognize how much was locked behind that single computer, I got a little scared. And I mean, $1,800, whatever. That's a decent investment. By the way, super quiet today. Hopefully everyone's doing good. I was just saying that earlier. Yes. So, but to answer that, yes, I do use Premiere exclusively at the moment. Bloody Cactus, how's it going, buddy? 14 people in, one new member. Thank you, everybody. That's awesome. I do want to say, so we're talking about what new gear you did buy this year. Trying to think if I bought anything, Dylan.
Yeah, right. Well,
Wait.
the thing is there's been, and I think you're in the same boat. There's been so many other areas of my life that have required money this year.
Yeah.
There hasn't been, well, and plus I haven't had anything from an audio standpoint that doesn't do what I needed to do. Like I don't need to expand anything. I at the moment I have everything that I need. That will change very soon. But I've got a couple of big purchases on the horizon, though. Probably some treatment.
I bought a profile mic, the Sennheiser Profile, which is sitting on my shelf. I'm probably going to give it away. Shure SM57.
Yeah, there you go.
That's, I think that's the end of my list.
Presidential filter.
What's that?
With the presidential filter.
It has the presidential filter. Yes, that review is coming up in August. Let me just go down here. I bought a lot of pet stuff. Mostly. Oh, I bought that stupid Tascam Mini Studio, the Creator, which is a piece of garbage. Yeah, I haven't really bought anything. I did buy in return. I don't count because. I bought the Blue Spark this year. Okay, that was in February. All right, so I bought a few things. Nothing that I'm consistently using. Dan, hey guys, sorry I was quiet, folding laundry while listening. I appreciate it, Dan. Thanks for showing up, buddy. But otherwise, I kind of wanted to mention I'm wildly burning out. Dylan, when's the last time you felt burnout? How long has it been since you burnt out? Or are you burnt out now?
I mean, I'm burnt out now, but I'm trying to think. Before now, I was burnt out in October. Right after I moved, and I was having to work full time and move in the same place at the same time.
Yeah, that's brutal.
That was wild. August, September freaking sucked. And then October, I had one day I went through. My buddy picked me up in London at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, geez.
And we drove back to Ottawa.
Nice. Yeah, it's
on
rough.
On a Friday.
I haven't had a day off in probably 2 months. Usually on my Fridays before the live stream, I've gotten into the habit of just not doing anything. That's my day to just relax. I haven't had that in at least 2 months, if not more. And I find myself, my week is filling up so much with paid work, with doing YouTube, with doing this, that, the other thing. Yeah, I'm burning, man. I got to the point where I've almost got all my videos done for August. I think I've got one left that I've got to do, and I'm writing it now. And then I think I'm done, and it couldn't have come too soon. Like I'm leaving for Scotland in 2 weeks on July 28th. Like 2 weeks from right now, I'm going to be on a plane to Scotland, to England and Scotland.
Nice.
And I'm literally like dragging feet there, man. I've got no energy, no oomph to do anything. And I've gotten all these videos done, like the LS308, one of my favorite videos. I had to redo that video because I originally did it with my old format, and I felt like that was kind of not fair to Lawton to do that, like to release an older style video after I'd already changed. So I actually went back and I redid the video and had a little bit more fun with it. I did the toilet flush test, if you saw the video earlier this week. That one's planned. So I even did a video twice. So it's just one of those, like, I need time off, man. I need to really like dial it back and just relax. And I'm really glad I worked forward for this because I felt this was coming. I felt this was coming from about, I'd say March. March, I've been feeling like a buildup of a lot of shit hitting the fan. So this is going to be good. Dan, 3 periods of suck for Apple have come and gone in times past. It seems pretty good right now. I'm using several M1 Max with no issues. Yeah, M1's awesome. I've got the M2. It is wild how much it can do at once, and it's dead silent. That's the other thing that I've been running into with my computer. My computer's no longer silent. When I record a video and my computer's on behind me, you can actually hear my computer going. I even got not a Be Quiet, but the Noctua, and it's still loud because my computer, I don't know if it's the CPU or whatever it is, but that fan's constantly like ramping up and shit. So I don't know what's going on with that.
How's your case airflow?
It's not bad, but it's not the greatest either. But it's never been this bad. It's
See,
never.
so mine is one of those Corsair Carbide, like the big mid tower,
Yeah.
with the paneling. It's not as good as a Be Quiet case, but it's all Noctua fans. I've ripped out all the stock ones, and they're all like NFA 14s and NF F20s.
Yeah.
Um,
I got the
and
DH15.
and then there's a like a dual pipe heat sink on the CPU with
Yep.
two Noctua fans on that.
Yeah, that's the DH15. Yeah.
That's motherboard controlled, but all the case fans there's a switch on the case to switch, and I can just leave it on the one fan setting for the case and the CPU, unless I'm rendering something, and then the CPU fan will ramp up like hell.
Yeah,
but
I got
usually
a
quiet.
fractal design. I can't even remember which case it is, but it's meant for like quiet operation.
Yep.
But it doesn't have superb airflow, and I should probably go and clean the friggin' thing out. Might have some. Well, I just replaced the CPU cooler, so that's clean. But maybe there's something else. Maybe I don't know. The old fan was the AMD stock fan, which was garbage. It sounded like a jet engine taking off. So I'll have to figure something out. But yeah, they're dead quiet and they do a lot compared to my PC, which is very, very well equipped, but does not do as much. Not as well, anyways.
Yeah, I liked this one because it came with the front has instead of like a fan slot at the bottom, it's got like acoustic dampening material, and then the air comes out the side of the front of the case, and then you can take that off, and there's an actual air dust filter. So that makes a great inlet for air, which is awesome. And then the underside has 3 spots for 140 mil fans, and again a massive magnetic dust filter, which is great.
Yeah.
And then there's like a fan port at the back, so tons of airflow, power supply fan slot, and then the CPU thing. So I think it can work. The thing is, you just got to. The key is not to have like 2 fans and have them full speed. It's to have like 8 fans and have them all like
Quarter
20%.
speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, DCS, we need to talk. I feel like we experienced similar things. It's audio hotline. Yeah, you know what? I think it's been a combination of a few things. One is it's summer in Canada, and despite it being Canada, it's like we have a really crappy air conditioner in our house, and I'm like sweating right now. I'm in a basement. It's cooler down here than it is upstairs. The problem is, though, it's damp. It's never dry in this house. So it's.
Yeah.
I was looking at videos from last summer, and my shirt's all like, you can tell I'm sweating. Kind of like the video we were doing with the drum kit, which I should send you the link to that, Dylan. I did the intro, and I ended up having to redo the intro because I was soaked in sweat, and I didn't realize I looked that bad for the video. So yeah.
I mean, like, again, like, I don't know, like, as a viewer, I'm weird, but like as a viewer, I see that, I'm like, oh, that's cool. The guys are actually working. They're actually doing stuff. Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Even my wife looked at it and went, "Why would you wear that shirt in public?" I'm like, I don't know. I don't dress myself, man. Like, I get comfy pants and a nice shirt and I'm good to go. But yeah, so a lot of things about this PC that maybe it's just this Ryzen chip. Maybe it's just the motherboard's inability to really, because it's the motherboard that handles the CPU cooling, all the when to turn the fans on. Maybe I need a CPU control, like a heat controller for the fan or whatever. I don't know. I've never had this loud of a PC in my life. And it's when I went up to 3700X.
Does your motherboard allow you any kind of like fan control-y apps?
Yeah, you can download certain apps. I have hardware info. All my temps are normal. That's what I don't get. Like, I've got hardware info. Nothing's going above 50 Fahrenheit.
Okay, so that says that there's some fan curve somewhere.
Yeah, there's something that ramps it up to 100 whenever it's like,
so
oh, it needs to cool.
What kind of mother is it, Asus?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got their apps. I've got mine's an Asus too, and they've got their whatever app, AI tweaker or whatever.
Yeah.
And one of those, the Fan Expert, go in there and check out what your CPU fan is set the curve, because it might be set to like ramp up at 45 degrees or something stupid.
Yeah, it'd be my luck. Yeah, I'll work on that. Steve, maybe time to vacuum out the filters, fan, heat sinks. I did that about a month and a half ago. So we're good there, but the basement here is brutal. We have 2 dogs, and a cat, and this is where all the hair comes. So you'll see me, I'll do a video and I'll have like hair on my shirt and I won't notice it because I've got this small little tiny screen to kind of see myself. And then I'll go to edit the video and I'm like, I've got white hair all over my shirt. I'm like, God damn it. So yeah, at least you don't have a 9-year-old laptop that spins to a maximum every time you do so much as watch a YouTube video. Man, time to upgrade there, Beresford. I had that. I will not buy a computer with spinning Rust ever again. However, I'm really concerned about my Mac Mini because it still refers to the storage as an HD. So a hard drive.
Yeah.
And a hard drive is spinning Rust. Like that, they're platters. I'm worried about that.
That's normal. I mean, that's just Mac speak, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're not going to say Macintosh SSD, or at least I haven't seen them do it. It's just Macintosh HD. That's what it's called. That's what it's been called since like Mac OS 9.4.
So SR375 says never dry. Let's talk about your toilet mic tests. Did you see my I had a short from earlier this week. Basically it was the toilet flush test and I was using the you saw that, Dylan? Yeah. So the story behind that was the LS208 got phenomenal off-axis rejection. So much so that it's comparable to an SM7B when you're in an untreated room. In fact, I actually did a side-by-side between the LS208 and the SM7B, and it's fucking close, man. And that's a condenser microphone. And the off-axis rejection is just stupid. Completely untreated room, and you couldn't tell in a bathroom. So at the end of that, I just decided why not throw an extra test and see how much of the flushing toilet it picked up. I won't tell which one won that, so just so you know. But yeah, it's that the 308 or the 208 is awesome for that. It's literally, this is what we used for the snare when we did our drums that day, Dylan. That's what we used to mic the snare. Ridiculous. I even went and listened back to the hi-hat rejection from it. It's actually pretty good, man, considering how far away the hi-hat was. I'm impressed that it rejected as much as it did. Is it the PSU fan? No, my PSU is power supply. No, PSU fan is fine. That said, maybe I should look into that.
Your power supply fan?
Yeah.
How old's your? Well, first of all, what was the rating? Was it like an 80 plus titanium or?
No, it's 80 bronze. But, however, it is 6 years old.
Yeah, man, I got
that's a good
Corsair's
question.
power supplies. Corsair makes some pretty solid power supplies.
Yeah, mine's Corsair too. No, it's EVGA. Sorry, EVGA.
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 I'm actually staring at the 308 right now. It's about an arm and a half's length away from me.
See, I'm gonna also be borrowing that back to record some bass lines for a song.
Some toilets.
Yeah, no toilets. I think I might bring that up every once in a while if I'm in the toilet and I have a mic though, for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, just bring it, Mike, to the bathroom.
PSU fan, thanks for that, Jose.
You know, I didn't tell you this. You know what the 308 is freaking awesome for?
What's that?
Beatboxing.
Okay, I did not expect, of all the things you could have said what it was great for.
I know. I was gonna say you're not gonna expect what's about to come out of my mouth.
How'd you find that out?
Was mucking about,
right.
recording an idea for a drum beat that I had in my head, and as I will often do out loud, like.
Interesting. By the way, beatboxing sounds horrible on Discord.
It had so much like definition to it, and I was like, okay, good to know. The 308 has a beatboxing mic. Who'd have thought?
I'm gonna let him know, man. Down at Lawton, I'm gonna tell him that's something you can sell this shit for. You can beatbox with this mic.
I would. Yep.
Dan says new gear opening a package from Perfect Circuit as I type. It's an Expert Sleepers ADAT audio interface. Nice. Oh,
ADAT.
You know what I forgot to do? I'm actually going to do it while we do the show here. So I had to send my board back to Mackie. They wanted to fix the faders. They're going to replace it because my faders were all bent to one side. So they're swapping it out. I meant to ask them whether or not they're planning on using that Ethernet for expanding to multiple ports.
Good question.
I want that on the. I'm gonna actually do that while I'm on the show here, because why not? Like that's something that I've been wanting to know. I'm gonna forget to do it.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like I gotta do some things if they're small enough. I gotta do them when I think of them, or I'm gonna forget to do them.
Where are they at? And also I'm still waiting on that bloody thing from.
For a hot boxing, nice. Nice.
308's great for hot boxing, guys.
Oh yeah.
What is a Mackie?
Got that built-in dust filter. Ooh.
There you are. Found Mackie thread. Anyone else just keep one long ass thread going on? Reply.
Oh yeah, I've done that. Printing it off's like 16 pages.
Yeah.
Who prints anything anymore? God, I just dated myself. Printers? What's that?
There we go. Is the Ethernet port going to be used for extra inputs at some point? That's all I want to know. That's all I want to know. And one that doesn't require special.
Could it even like is the wiring of that port or the chip on the other end of it even capable of doing something like that?
I've heard that it is. I believe it was Mackie's website that was dropping hints about what they were going to be using it for. And I think they were about expandability or something. I remember there being something about that. And I remember I took it in and I'm like, that's interesting knowledge. And then I completely forgot to follow up on it to look at what it was. And the fact that there was no Ethernet support for internet would tell me that it's going to be something other than an internet port. Because how easy would it have been to just have that capable of internet support out of the box? That's not something they would have to integrate later on or turn on at a later time. It would have just shipped with that. So the idea that it did not provide any kind of internet to the unit would tell me that's an expansion port.
Yeah.
That's the only way to look at it, really.
Unless it's some kind of service port.
I missed some stuff. Look at the system profiler. Is it the default label for the drive? Yes, I did. Am I missing something? I think I'm missing something. Best ever is an acoustic guitar pickup on the bottom of a folding chair on a live performance. Half reverb and half fart. Nice until you move in that chair. Had my earphones just off me ear and thought Dylan said the 308 was good for hotboxing. Oh, yeah, that's what I missed. The gummy bears that shipped with the equipment were delicious. Nice. At least call it Chungus. Yeah, a Chungus. Sorry, I've got to remember that referring to all of my gear by its proper name.
Chungus.
Chungus will be forever known. It's got a place on my desk. I'm still deciding. This is not being influenced by any companies, by the way. But I have my AudioFuse Studio. I have the Streamer X. That's what I'm using to stream right now. So these are the things I need. I need an interface for this desk. This is my work desk where I do videos. I need a streamer interface, which is the Streamer X. That's not going anywhere. Then on that desk, I need an interface for my main PC and an interface for my Mac. So I'm trying to decide which interface is going to be what. My AudioFuse Studio is probably staying on my main PC. I can't imagine I'm going to be trading that out. However, for my Mac, I think I'm going to end up going with the Mackie. Or switching between Mackie on PC and the AudioFuse Studio on the Mac. Out of everything that I've gotten, what would you go with, Dylan? Out of all the like Rodecaster Duo, Rodecaster Pro, literally all of the interfaces I've gotten over the past 6 months.
I mean, that Mackie looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's big. It's so fucking big.
Yeah, well, I got a 1642 on my desk. I can.
Yeah, all right, fair.
I can do it.
This is something I was also talking about because I'm getting in a second pair of monitors. Can you send me the dimensions of your desk? Because I'm gonna try to recreate your desk.
All right.
Like, take pictures of it and just like give me the dimensions, how much each thing, the length and all that. I'm gonna try to recreate it with some plywood. like some really 3/4 inch ply, and I'm gonna laminate and all that stuff. I'm gonna do all the things to it. It's gonna look gorgeous.
Nice.
But I want to be able to get the kind of because I want that tier, that workstation kind of setup vibe with it, and I don't think I can eyeball it. So yeah, send me all that. Maybe we'll make a video out of it. Because I believe the top of your desk is 2 3/4 inch plywood pieces, right? Basically glued together. It's about 1.5 inches thick.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
that I can see in the hole back here because they didn't cover it with any kind of veneer. So yeah, it's just 2 pieces of plywood.
Okay, perfect. See, that's why it's simple. All you need to do is be good with the jigsaw, good with the sander, and you can make that desk for probably 1/100th of what it costs too. So
Well, I mean, you also have to be decently good at engineering. You have to understand how to build something like that. There's a lot of people that wouldn't know.
Yeah, that's
right?
fair.
Like, we take that for granted because we're building stuff, we're mucking with stuff regularly. But there's some people that, like, if they took apart a piece of equipment, they wouldn't know how to put it back together.
I don't. Yeah, I understand. I don't understand how. I've always had that, like, take stuff apart, put it back together. Some things you take it apart and you find out it doesn't go back together because it wasn't meant to, like cheap crap from IKEA. But yeah, like, I've always had that. Like, I can just fabricate something. Show me how it's done. I love pocket screws. That I will say, my building has taken off since I started using pocket screws. It makes everything, like doing cabinetry and stuff like that, 100 times easier. At least doing the Rodecaster Pro 2. I've thought about going with the RCP2. I might be using the Rodecaster Pro 2 on this. So instead of having, because I can't really shoot videos with the Streamer X. I could, but when I'm doing dual mics, I need something with more than a couple inputs. So it's probably going to be the Duo or the Rodecaster Pro 2 that I do my videos with. I think that's going to be the one, and on my main computer and stuff. Not having to turn a channel up when I want to listen to a YouTube video. It sounds stupid, but yeah. Anyways, Johnny Reagan, love my Mac. You keep changing my desk layout to figure out what works best for me. That is the hardest part with that thing, man. It's a good portion of your desk. Like, it takes up a lot of room. It's worth it. Like, the thing is a workstation in itself. I have an old MIDI controller back there, the Arturia one. I think that might be demoted and put off to the side. But I also think, like, by getting like an audio workstation like what Dylan has, it might give me the opportunity to have like monitors where they're supposed to be, boards where they're supposed to be, and have a little bit more room to myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it does help, honestly. Like, compared to my workflow before, like my workflow here, having my 2 full racks like right beside me on either side, having kind of like Furman lights, wiring all throughout the desk. Lots of places for wires to come and go as they please.
Yeah.
It's definitely allowed me to really configure this to the most optimal way to integrate all these things together. Like, there's probably 50 or 60 pieces just woven into this sort of tapestry of technology.
Damn. Mr. Big Man Games, how's it going, man? Long time no see, indeed. Beresford, quick question. I love this because this is something I used to have to deal with. What should I do if I have 2 laptops and both of them turn into jet engines every time I record audio? One is buy another laptop. If you can't do that, literally run with depends on what your interface is, if it's 3.0 or not, run with a nice long USB or whatever interface you have for your interface for your interface. You know what I mean. If it's USB or if it's whatever, get a long one and put it in a different room. I'm not kidding you. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. But I had to run that for about 6 months way back when I first started this channel because I couldn't be around my computer while I was recording. I literally had to put a wall between me and my computer to shut it up.
Well, honestly, when I was in London, and you didn't see this in person, but I had my studio was one room, and I didn't have enough treatment, or I couldn't be invasive enough to completely plaster the entire room in treatment material. So what I did is that master bedroom had a walk-in closet, and so what I did is I bought a super cheap KVM extender pair on Amazon for like $100, and it was keyboard, video, mouse over Cat 5e. And drilled one little hole through the wall, ran the Cat 5 cable, crimped it on the other side, plugged it into the receiver, and yeah, made a little vocal booth. And it
Nice.
was dead quiet. But in my
Yeah.
computer, I could leave it at 3 on the fan setting all the time because
Nice.
I'm never recording anything in there.
Yeah, and don't use shotgun mics pointed at your computer, as I'm doing right now. Oh, it's picking up. People are talking now. Uplift desks is an option. I've thought about getting like something like that. I haven't decided what my next desk is going to be. I'm building a secondary background right now. I don't think I've talked about that. I started last week when I had some spare time. So I'm actually doing the tool background, but instead of tools, it's going to be all microphones. Because my toolkit, it's a thing on wheels that almost every YouTuber has for some reason. I bought it for actual tools about 6 years back. I've actually cleared it out, all the tools. I've vacuumed it. It's now my mic storage because it makes more sense than putting your mics on shelves, because it's just a fucking dirty mess when you have a bunch of mics on shelves. This thing is great. It also keeps them relatively safe from dust and all that crap. And it's in one spot. I don't have to worry about it. And I've still got for all my other crap, I've still got a shelf in here, but it's off to the side. And that's going to be my background I'm going to put up some pegboard, and I'm going to have my guitars hanging on the wall on either side. It's going to look pretty. It's so what I'm saying is, once I get that done and I can start working within that framework, I'm going to be changing this background to a different desk, a different setup, something a little bit more streamlined to what I'm using, because I built this desk in 2020 and it's been great, but a 7-foot long desk is only good to pile shit on it at some point. So
Yeah, it's true.
what new gear I bought this year? All my gear has started this year. Latest one is Razer webcam for streams. I thought about getting one. Thought about doing, because I still want to, like, every once in a while just break out a video game and sit down and stream and chat. I've considered it. Maybe I don't know. I'll just get another DSLR or something. I want to tell you, this can mount it more vertically to save your desk space. Yeah, I've thought about mounting shit and all that stuff and adding shelves, and depends on how much work. I have to have that second background done before I can do any of this. Because as soon as I rip this thing apart, all videos come to a stop. I can't shoot videos with this in pieces. So that's one of the drawbacks of being a YouTube personality, is your background is part of you. So I can't do anything for now. Along with a mess with Ergotron. What's Ergotron? Oh, Mr. Big Man Games turned his closet into a studio. Nice. They should
it's
put
a good option.
They should put VESA mounts in the bottom of more mixers so you can mount them on arms like monitors. I like the idea. I don't find them to be the most stable. Like when I put the Rodecaster Pro 2 on an arm, it's still like you go to press you go to fader up or something like that, and it's moving across the desk. It's actually a bit of a pain in the butt. I haven't enjoyed it.
If you are putting it on a monitor, you pretty much need to put it on like a touchscreen monitor.
Yeah.
Because a normal monitor, you're not interacting with it. You're not touching it.
Yeah.
Whereas with like a touchscreen, even a touchscreen, like some of the things you're doing on a board are very hands-on compared to just tapping, right? So you need a monitor or an arm that's super, super stable.
Yeah, no kidding.
That you can lock in place.
Forgot I had a third laptop. We'll test and report back. Yeah, get some audio. Hit us up in the Discord and actually record some audio of the 3 laptops. We'll choose which one we like best. Get yourself a PC, build compact PC laptops, and make constant noise with fans. I found that, like, I've got a relatively new Ryzen laptop with the GeForce RTX 3060 in it, and even like doing this live stream, it's humming. It's humming.
Yeah, my 5570, when I'm at work using it with Pro Tools and Outlook and Teams and just so many things in a wide orbit, all open, it's breathing pretty hard. Like I couldn't record a VO like at my workstation. Not that I want to. It's an untreated room. That'd be stupid.
Yeah.
But still, like it's just breathing beside me.
Dan, Melda plugins giving away M Dynamic EQ for 2 more days.
Nice.
You know what I found was a gigantic pain in the ass, Dylan?
What?
This is probably going to be the one thing I will regret getting a Mac. I have to upgrade my Isotope RX because it doesn't work with M2 Max or M series Max. Only.
Hey man, at least you've got a lot of software. I that's one thing, man. I like there's some software pieces that I use that aren't Mac compliant. I could find a counterpart. I just don't want to.
You can use Isotope with Mac. You just can't use RX6
No, yeah, because you need the
because
M1
it's
support.
Isotope 6 is like 6 years old, I
Yeah.
think. I bought it when I was doing that audiobook, which was about 6 years back.
Trying to remember which. I think I have 8.
Yeah. I think 9 is the earliest one you can use with the M Series Max.
I'll
So-
probably this coming Black Friday. I'll probably upgrade a bunch of shit.
Oh, that's right. They have big Black Friday deals, eh?
All these places. Yep.
Maybe I'll do that as well. I'll just upgrade because I need.
I've got Waves that needs to be updated. I got Native Instruments that needs to be updated. I got Isotope that needs to be updated.
Dan,
so yeah, I got some work to do.
Dan, you say that, but you know what the biggest thing I use from Isotope is, and it's just the mouth noise declick.
Yeah.
I do use their voice denoise for actually a lot more. I know spectral denoise is really good, and it's really really impressive how deep and like granular you can get with it. The voice denoise you can get pretty good. You can also learn noise samples, and it can do. Yeah, I don't know, man. Those are the two things. I never open up Isotope either. I always do it within the DAW.
Yep, same. Yeah, I don't. Sometimes I have in the past just opened up the Isotope RX editor. It's kind of a neat tool.
It is.
There's some neat integration features, like the fact that I can do like what you can do in Adobe and like lasso stuff on the spectrogram and just delete it.
Yeah.
And that there's like magical regenerative AI based things in the background building back out the. That's kind of cool. I like doing that kind of stuff. So if I really need, like, I remember one time I was recording somebody and they hit a great chord, just super solid, no like fret buzzing, but there's just a little tiny little buzz just on one of the strings, little buzz. And other than that, it was perfectly in tune. It just had such impact. And so I just went in, circled just roughly the little resonance of that, and it just deleted it. It's just gone.
You're gonna have to teach me how to read that better. I know how to read it generally, but I'm like finding little things like that to me is like.
Oh, yeah, I'll show it to you. I use it all the time, honestly. Like I'm one of those like audition nerds that has like the waveform and the sonogram like right beside each other.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I see more with the sonogram or the spectrogram than I do with the waveform. Like I get more information in the same amount of time.
See, waveform looks like a language to me now. I'm so adapted to looking at waveform. I can almost tell you what the words are. Like it's scary how.
Yeah, that's why I like both. It's because like you're not going to get a sense of transience.
No.
With a spectrogram, you'll get a sense of sort of frequency play. That's more or less what spectrograms are for. Like you can tell what is going on. Like if you're trying to edit music, okay, where exactly does that guitar note start? All right, there's that little fading in bit there. There it is. Whereas with a waveform, it's more difficult to do some stuff like that.
I've been editing music a lot for the past few months, and with music, I can even tell the notes. I don't know how it is, but you can see the count in the waveform.
Oh, yeah, you can see, like I can tell the difference between like a kick hit and a snare hit, and okay, there's some little hats under there.
But
like,
I can even see where the guitar kicks in. I can see where the.
Oh, especially great when the bass kicks in because suddenly the waveform just gets so like flowy, and you're like, what the hell? All right, the bass is here, right?
TechMed, welcome to Love and Support. Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
No, like we edit music every day. Obviously, everything that we do, we're dealing with 2.5 minute music beds that we got to trim down to 30 or 60 or 5. Try to next time. Try to cut down. Try to cut a 2.5 minute bed down to 5 seconds.
Yeah, I know. One of the things I've been loving because I use Epidemic Sound. Links are in the description if you want to try it out. 30 days free is awesome, and that's not even a sales pitch. Marianne, who both Dylan and I know, she was looking for some audio for I forget what it was. It was something for an awards show. And she just needed some music for doing a documentary thing. And I'm like, go try Epidemic. Because she's tried another one. And she's like, I found one song that I like. And I'm like, try Epidemic. She came back. She's like, oh my God, the audio there is amazing. Like, yes, it is. It's fantastic. I've been using that in another one. And the one thing I love about that I wish Epidemic did was short versions of songs, where like Killer Tracks used to do this, where you could get like a 30-second version of a song if
They
you
still
really
do.
liked it.
We do Killer Tracks. The main one that I use, I do love Killer Tracks, but a lot of their content is a little more dated. A lot of
Yeah.
it is very much more targeted to, well, they actually, sorry, Killer Tracks doesn't exist anymore. Universal Production Music, UPM.
Yeah. I'm trying to
And
remember the name of the thing I use.
a lot of their stuff is TV oriented, but we use more or less, or I personally use APM, which is also ironically run by the same label, but has way better search features, which is great. Being able to actually dial in exactly what I'm looking for on a number of criteria is super handy. And then what I end up getting with, there's a few tracks that aren't the best, but for most of it is really good quality, like market ready.
Oh, Mr. Big Man Games has a good question here. This is fair. Let me just see. We did a unit linguistics about speech issues, spectrograms. It was amazing. Cool, Dan. Yeah, I'm fascinated by that kind of stuff. And just give me a sec, Mr. Big Man. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything.
Thanks, Tech.
TechMed, cheers, brother. Thank you. Declick implosive. Okay, so I'm pretty much caught up. So with Epidemic, this is the only one I'll really mention because it's the only one I really know because I do actually. I have affiliate links. I use their program quite a bit. But let's say you sign up for the free version, the 30-day free. Whatever audio you use in those 30 days, you keep. You don't have to worry about an old episode getting strikes or an old YouTube video getting a strike. You just can't use it again. So like if you like do an intro with that music, you can't use that intro in a new video if you're not paying for the subscription. The subscription covers you for using music all the time. So if you do an intro with Epidemic, and this happened to Minds of Madness, where the only reason they're keeping their Epidemic, they have their own account with Epidemic. Even though I have like the ambassador account, which I'm allowed to like work for anybody and use the music for really anyone that I want to, they have to keep their account because their intro is from that account. So if they ever delete their Epidemic account, they literally have to get rid of their intro. So as long as you can use it for whatever you want, it will never go back and strike stuff from previous episodes that you did while you were under contract with them. So it's actually a fairly risk-free endeavor as long as you don't try to game the system. So it's awesome. Pajimo's allowed to use it. I'm okay. Yes. As long as it's listed in that profile, it will just do one check on it and it'll be fine. It'll be good to go. If you know, I do use stems a lot, Beresford. One of the things that
great, you can really dial in your energy level.
Well, also the one thing I freaking hate when you're trying to shorten down a song and you're trying to find like, okay, I got to get rid of 30 seconds here. But every time you go to cut between beats, but then all of a sudden there's a horn. There's a friggin' horn on the first beat and it's not on the other one. So you've got to, now with stems, you can go and cut the horn completely out. Now you don't have the problem. Or you can just like fade the horn down just before the beat. There's so many things. Stems have saved me so much time in podcast editing. It's not even funny. Cheers, TechMed. I appreciate that, brother. It's about 6:10 and I've got to go order pizza for me and my kid. We're having a night in. Wife is out camping. So we're going to eat pizza and watch a movie. But this, I believe, next week, let me check let me check my friggin' calendar here. Okay, so next week's the last live stream until September. That's wild to think. So Dylan and I are taking August off. Dylan more by force than anything. I myself am going to Europe and I'm going to recharge over August. So next Friday, come join us for the last stream before September, before school's back and all that fun stuff. And we'll see you then, guys. Have yourself a great week.